You know, I mean, a lot of people out there would say this. It's hard for them to wrap their minds around the fact that such atrocities, evils could be perpetrated by our government against
their own people. Yeah.
Their own people, especially the soldiers, which are supposed to be protecting our country. But it's obvious that there is some type of biological engineering going on with our troops, and that's what you're talking about.
Exactly, there is. They also tried it in Vietnam with the direct BZ to make the soldiers fight harder through the LSD current of trance. They're doing the same thing now, but it's not exactly to make them fight harder because they're not interested in winning the war. If that was the case, we've already traveled over that came home, the over north of Afghanistan and Iraq. But it's mainly, well, for instance, I could tell you that when we first got to Afghanistan, the poppy fields production and exportation by the CIA had gone up 48%.
You have to touch on that issue just a little bit more. We can't just skip over that.
It kind of goes hand in hand with the drugging of the troops, and also we'll go back to the drugging of personnel. A lot of them the reason why they're being drugged, like special forces people, the reason why they're doing things to make them psychotic, to make them come home and do crazy things, is because their main interest, is to do away with the Green Berets.
There you go.
The reason why they want to do away with the Green Berets is because the Green Berets were created, not, I would say wholly created by John F. Kennedy, but it was something that was implemented by him. And he saw a need for them. And also remember, he tried to do away with the federal government, but he got blown away. And then therefore, his element in the military, which is the Green Berets, they wanted them gone. And they're still trying to get them gone because the Green Berets actually have like a silent pact. If the government turned against them, they know exactly what to do.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm telling you, one of the things that I saw, I'm going to say which airbase, it's a very secure airbase, they had planes that had machines inside of them that basically spray chemicals in our sky. And the official report would be that they're trying to cool down the Earth from the heating of the Earth. But basically, it's basically to make you very ill.
Okay.
And this has nothing to do with the machines themselves. And it's the same, the company that gives them the chemicals is the same company that the Bush family owns and has owned since World War I.
And you're speaking of the chemtrails right now.
Here in Southern Oregon and Northern California, we've got a bit of an unusual situation. Now, this first portion of the radar cycle, fairly bland and typical, but then you see these bands of very distinct cloud cover moving into the region. That is not rain, that is not snow. Believe it or not, military aircraft flying through the region is dropping chaff. Small bits of aluminum, sometimes it's made of plastic or even metallicized paper products, but it's used as an anti-radar issue, and obviously they're up there practicing. Now, they won't confirm that, but I was in the Marine Corps for many years, and I'll tell you right now, that's what it is.
The community of the San Bernardino Mountains has a real mystery on its hands. The official explanation here is that jet contrails are causing strange lines in the sky, and that it's pollen making people sick on the ground. But others are convinced it is something else, and they ask, is the government experimenting with our weather?
There was a huge dust cloud.
A cloud of dust, leaving a sticky yellow slime all over her car. It happened again last February, and calls began pouring into the local Alpenhorn newspaper.
And they had a tremendous upsurge of children that were not going to school at that time.
Pharmacist Ed Burrows says it is the most mysterious illness he's seen in 22 years on the mountain.
A lot of eye infection problems, upper respiratory problems, nosebleeds.
The story is not just here in Crestline in the alleged yellow cloud. People say the government is up there in airplanes spraying all kinds of chemicals to change or manipulate the weather, leaving what you see there, and they call that a chemtrail. So when I look at there and I think are contrails, you're telling me are chemtrails?
Yes, that a contrail would be dissipated by now.
But what is unknown today may be actual fact tomorrow, thanks to a bill soon to be voted on in the U.S. Senate, a Weather Modification Act, calling for research in, quote, attempting to change or control by artificial methods the natural development of atmospheric cloud forms.
Doesn't it seem to you that they're going to be doing it in the future for sure?
Yes. And if they are, I want to know about it.
Chemtrails are even mentioned by name in the initial draft of House Bill 2977 back in 2001 under the Space Preservation Act. But the military denies any such program exists.
Now, Jeff's report mentioned high levels of barium linked to those alleged chemtrails. We wanted to find out exactly what effects barium has on the body. We spoke with Mark Ryan, the director of the Poison Control Center. Ryan tells KSLA News 12 that short-term exposure can lead to anything from stomach to chest pains. Long-term exposure causes blood pressure problems. Ryan addressed concerns by chemtrail researchers that barium could be meant to wear down a person's immune system.
The other day I saw B-52 flying over spraying.
Okay. I kind of derailed you, but let me get you back on the track. So we were talking about Princess Di. You're saying that she walked in on this sacrifice, on this blood sacrifice ritual, and this is what placed her life in jeopardy. That's what you're saying to me?
Oh yeah. Okay. Because also since she was breaking away from, because the mind control has to be implemented all the time, and it has to be done to where people can't tell that the person is under it, because eventually it starts to take its toll, and you can tell that they're under it. You can tell that they're just basically jello.
Now,
when you talk to them, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please finish.
Okay, when you talk to a person who's under that kind of mind control, they basically don't have very many responses, and when they do, it's basically of an agreeable nature where you ask them, do you want to go to college? They say yes. Do you want to do this? They say yes. It's basically like that. There's no real thought pattern.
Right.
And also they're real sluggish. They kind of hunch over when they're walking or talking. I mean, where they're doing it. You can really tell after a while. It's really when they're new to it. You can't tell as much. But once it starts wearing off, a lot of things start happening. And one of the things that happened to her when it wore off was paranoia.
Right.
And that won't happen. It'll be extreme paranoia. With us, when we were overseas, we had the paranoia. We had blackouts. We had seizures. We had vivid nightmares like you won't believe it.
Now, when you say we, are you insinuating at this time that your unit, all of your unit, or maybe yourself, were a victim of this mind control yourself?
Right, because there's a lot of moments that I can actually say that we're kind of blacked out. Not just moments, but even days and weeks, just blacks. I just can't see what it was, so blacked out.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
And that's one of the things that tip me over the shoes that paranoia starts coming, because you have no recollection of some of the places, some of the things. Even like some people's names, these things just start like blacking out your mind, kind of like a computer that's going on the fritz, and some things you can pull up and some things you can't. That's how mind control works. And one of the systems that they use heavily right now is actually the Xbox.
Oh, the Xbox. You're talking about the gaming console.
Yes.
And then you have to elaborate on that. You're saying to me right now that the Xbox, the gaming console that's developed by, well, it's Bill Gates' company actually that develops the Xbox. You're saying that this gaming console that little children play, it's used to implement mind control?
Yeah, and it was actually designed by one of the elements of the CIA who, this is what they do. Kind of like you know how people study advertisement and they go put the shiniest thing in the front, so when you walk in and basically as you keep going through, you're basically overwhelmed.
Right.
And that's a form of mind control in a way, but this kind of mind control is a lot more deadly in nature, because it's designed to basically destroy the platform a family could even build anything on. And that's what it's designed to do, to tear your child